Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, episode 4. I should start it. After our quick break from this game, let's just... Wow. Now that I closed the door... What is this? I shouldn't have opened the shutters. Oh well. Yes, please. We are now back. And since I haven't slept a whole lot, this is gonna be a short stream. I just wanted to check out what this episode is about, and then get a bit further into it, and then, well, finish it another day. But yeah, let's see how far I can get without falling asleep on stream. Let's just start. Oh yeah, I have to choose, right? Episode 4, The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
19th of February, 9:47 AM, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruto? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? I didn't really sleep either. Since we streamed till around midnight my time, I was alright. I need to calm down a bit before I can sleep. So I chatted with a friend who was also awake, since there's a concert going on in Germany that's pretty famous. I don't know if it's famous worldwide, but Rock am Ring? Rock at the Ring? If you translate it literally. And there was a live show. She was meant to go there, but she's sick now, currently. And one of her favorite bands was playing around midnight, that's why she was up. And we chatted till close to 2 AM, until I noticed I had the early shift today and have to get up at 6 AM. So yeah, I'm sleep deprived as all heck, but hey, it was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. Spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. Yep. You seem like the type. In your lodging, housing in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Aww. I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Ah, London is a scary place. Ah, good morning to you at this early hour. Oh, yes, well... Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. I think he knows. He should, right? Sato-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it was very eye-opening. Thank you. And in accordance with our instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been apprised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern island. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now? That was quick. Studying for 1 month. Being the acting defendant. No, not the defendant. Defense. In 2 cases. What makes you a lawyer? Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Maybe give me information before we get a case? It would be lovely to get more information on a case before we start defending someone, you know? Another case already. Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. Yes, well, Lord Van Zix, it's been a pleasure. So it has. And as for you, my dear fellow, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. He wasn't. Mr. Naruhodo, It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Hi Erika, how you doing? I hope you slept this time. In contrast to me. And then the trial ended. Yeah. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry. What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial, so he's the one that burned in the carriage? Oh, okay. I want to know more. Give me the juicy details. No. What? Mr. McGilded is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Okay, give me the juicy details. I don't understand what happened. How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you will presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing happen? And that is being investigated as we speak, but already... True, but if I remember this scene at the end, it's highly unlikely. He's not a T-virus infected mutant who is immune to any kind of fire or acid, or what else did we throw at him? A whole lot. Bullets as well. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Mr. McGilded. That's awful! The man must have slipped inside once the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. The bailiff really needs to pay more attention. He's probably underpaid. What do you expect? And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Yay. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry? What inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. True, true. It is, but that's the ridiculousness of this game, for sure. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then, who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. Yeah, as thorough as they did in the first case. Sure. I totally believe that. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. McGilded. British court. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Suda-san was such a way with the words. Well, she has a dictionary with her everywhere she goes. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. You call that advanced? Sure. The most advanced in the world, is it? Yeah. Quite funny. It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. A simple affair? You call that a simple affair? It was a simple affair for the prosecution, but they messed up and did not take proper precaution, knowing the guy they're going up against is someone known for tampering with evidence, and they did not take enough photographic evidence of the crime scene. What? It wasn't simple. It was a whole mess of ridiculous affairs. Oh, okay. Simple. Sure. Simple? That was simple? Yeah. As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. Were you helping him? Did he pay you? I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. Yeah, well, yeah, that courtroom was easy to be influenced, that's for sure. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Yeah. He built a beautiful park. He can't be evil. How could anyone who does some good be evil? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. Can they all read minds? Or is he just speaking out loud and it's indicated as thoughts because he thinks he is thinking these things, but actually he's saying them out loud? In fact, this case is completely different. Yes, a woman was murdered this time. It's the first time that a woman was murdered. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? Thanks. That is to say, no one has died as yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. What? 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. And how do you know that? Did you order ahead? Should I just open the case against you, Mr. Strongheart, Chief Justice? Huh. So the trial's tomorrow, then? Is everything alright? Oh, yes. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilder's trial. Ah, yes, I nearly forgot. There's one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. I know I didn't sleep a lot, but didn't he say nothing happened yet? Oh, the trial will not be held today. Why did I understand as the murder didn't happen yet? Wow. Okay. Okay. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that's right. Oh, here we go again. Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes and 39 seconds until the court sits. Okay, I don't need it to be so precise. Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. True. Maybe another body shows up in the courtroom. Or well, somebody else gets murdered in the courtroom. Under the watchful eyes of the remaining people in said courtroom. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something that you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asugi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked, so he could change hours in Japan now that he's gone. I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh, another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important, and what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd ever made it. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asugi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. Yeah, well, were you his best friend? No. I urge you both to focus your attention on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of that case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. How long has he been there? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean? I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Is that fish and chips? Come on, dude, give me some. Share, why don't you? Just look at all the naughty books. No, that's not what I was looking for. Yep. I think we read that the last time. Is that how you eat fish and chips now? Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Oh. Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know. Why am I trying to make him Scottish? But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. I'm a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. You are devouring fish and chips right in front of me. I don't think you would go to a crime scene with your fish and chips. Oh, I'm so very sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Huh? Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the big wigs these days. And all because of some bumpkin. He's here on a jaunt from a country I've never even heard of. Hear the ripping sound. That's my reputation at the yard going to the tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Rionosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, so... Eh? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London's winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable, how did she pull that off? She's a woman. She knows her charms. So, Lord Stronghead has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector Gregson. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? How is he not fat? You're acting like you know this man, Mr. Subtle, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called again? Ron's magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful, friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. If he's anything like Mr. Sholmes, can we just leave him here and go to the crime scene alone? Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yards. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise. Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That is not, and thanks to that magazine my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? Huh. I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. I just can't keep a straight accent, can I? Nope. Everyone wanted to shake my hand and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it's not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under their breath. I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head. Stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't catch exactly what they're saying. But I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as X is X. There are different types of eggs, you know. So not all eggs, well no, all eggs are eggs, but not all eggs are the same egg. Or the same type of egg, I should say. I get the feeling this detective could be very hardworking. Oh dear. Perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people. Okay. The case. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before? Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. Yep, me too. A young woman was... A young woman was walking out along the pavement on the Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious. Ah! Oh, yeah, that would be nice. Although I am full, I shouldn't eat anything. But maybe tomorrow for breakfast. That's an idea. Just give me all kinds. I eat eggs in all forms. Oh, in ramen? I haven't had any good ramen recently. Should make some. Sadly, we don't have a good ramen place close by. The one I knew, I think, doesn't exist anymore. They were run by actual Japanese people. So, you know. Actually good food there. Quite expensive though, but good. Oh, should look for a new place. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? I suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a suicide takedown, wouldn't you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit? Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question? Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Beric Van Zix. We won against him yesterday. Well, I wouldn't say won, but technically we won, although I guess the case was dismissed since the evidence was tampered with and they couldn't with 100% certainty say that the evidence was tampered with. So the case was closed. In a very brutal way, burning the actual murderer at the stake. No, alright. Would be nice though. And no, it wouldn't be nice for the person dying, but if it didn't have to take that long. But then again, if the verdict is incorrect, you should have time to... Yeah, okay. I guess it's too barbaric to actually kill people immediately after that trial. But it would save money. A lot. No. Sounds like you've heard of him then. Oh, yes. We are very familiar with Lord Van Zix. Believe to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. Well, what do you have to say about the rip of the Bailey? Lord Baruch Van Zix, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilder told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zix stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Well, I guess he was damned yesterday as well. Damned to hellfire. This Ripper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zix, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty. Ah, and what of it? Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end there? He's dead. Ah, Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when he went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you? What are you saying? Look, if Van Zix could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good look, a good long think about that if I were you. Okay. Are we really supposed to believe that? Apparently so. Right, well, I've filled you in as requested and I'm very nearly out of chips. That took you long for that little bag to go empty, although you were devouring it in minutes, in seconds. Or did you take, I don't know, multiple of those bags with you? I think he's a chips addict. So, I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We're still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already. He's as good as. Shaken like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's in inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53. Thank you. Bye. Okay. So, there's no helping anyone against the Reap of the Bailey, they say. Something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage too. But if the man they've arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And if one wouldn't find the sight of that funny, I for one. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling. actually hear the... Okay. The airplane flying over this house. Luckily, we are only in the landing zone for a very, very small airport. So, we very rarely get low-flying airplanes. But still, they're annoyingly loud. If I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to miss this man. Help this man. Wow, okay. Brian, stop being asleep. Work. Thank you. Whoever he is. But I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I'm your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes. Let's go. There was nothing else left to investigate here, right? Okay, where to first? Crime scene? Oh, that sucks. These prison cells are very suspect. Where suspects are held whilst they await trial. Visiting is permitted at certain times. Well, where to first? Crime scene? Let's see. Briar Road. The poor bike! So, this is where it happened. Briar Road. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It's unmistakable. The man of Scotland Yard are here. They're investigating as we speak. That is the job, you know. But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They're often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamed of I'd ever come this close. To real Bobby's helmet. What? The helmet? Of course. I have to try one on one day. I think you could just ask the Inspector Gregson? What was his name? Wow. I shouldn't be streaming today. Well, I hope your happy dreams come true. I don't see Gregson. Okay, I wasn't too far off. It was the second choice. I don't see Inspector Gregson anywhere. Well, shall we see if we can speak past him? After us. Sneak? Yeah, you can't sneak at us. Definitely not. If we can sneak past and investigate the scene of the stabbing, why should we sneak? I don't want to upset one of those bobbies and be butted on the head by one of those metal helmets. My skull would crack in two, I'm sure. Oh no, an English bobby would never do such a thing. This is a land of gentlemen, you know. Examine. A beautiful snowman. Hehe, what a delightful snowman! I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though. Oh, it has a scarf, look! You need one if you wear out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one. I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We certainly can't afford a scarf. Didn't we get some money from... No, we didn't accept the money from him. Shit. We should have just taken all the money he gave us and let him burn to a crisp, which he already did. But then we had enough money to actually afford something. And with a very high probability, this case will not afford us a lot of money either. Why don't we have more money? I'm afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment too. We can't afford a scarf. Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his. But the person who made the snowman certainly would. Yes, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, I knew much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Oh, that's Scotland Yard's carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals. You're very well informed, aren't you? She is the epitome of a fangirl. It's long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London. Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of those windows then. But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it's the only way, help me find a good stone. No. I wasn't serious. I love her. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed, while cowering on the ground. Sure. Crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons. I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We've done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern. Oh, no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs, despite not knowing a thing about what was going on. Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all. Susato, the sass. Oh, she's sassy while being so polite. Aww. Okay, anything else? Is that all? There's not a lot I can do here, so I guess... Ah, right. The poor bike. Oh, British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is so misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dresses to allow them to ride as well. The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that. Goodness, do you dislike bicycles? No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off my ground seems reckless. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. That is your own fault. It's not so... It's so hard walking on stilts. How do you fall in a river with those guys? You are not supposed to walk on mushy ground. No wonder. We'll have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. Yes, Mom. Thanks, Mom. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history. Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here. We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Okay. Oh, look! The windows of the building there. Are you sure they're windows? Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks. Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment. There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though. Vampires live there. Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place. Oh. The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy. Well, it is known as Foggy London Town. I can just make out some sort of spire through this fog. It looks like it's still being built though. Aha, yes, that must be the Crystal Tower being built for the great exhibition that's to be open. That's to open 6 months from now. Apparently, it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides on the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition. It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. Oh. Do you see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there? It says here that in Great Britain many people heat their homes in winter using coal. The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. Do you think some of those houses could be on fire? Not at all. Well, even so, that much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely going to turn the whole sky black sooner or later. Ooh, the hint towards pollution. Gosh, you may be right about that. I'm curious, since I think 3 new people subbed in. I'm really curious how long they will stay after not playing Resident Evil anymore. But okay, I'll see. Maybe they'll stick around, maybe not. I can only see what happens. Okay, Briar Road. Let's go. Thanks for the subs, by the way. 19th of February. Local prison, cell 9. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than those cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Wow, thanks. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. I don't see anyone though. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Step idle in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat? As yet with no name? Calling me by a number. I utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. It's okay. It's. I refuse to answer. Mr. Naruto, what do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? The rate of complaints was in Japanese. What happened to your eyes? Excuse me, but who? Shh, quiet. The quiet fox. No. Okay, you're doing the okay. Sorry, I thought he was doing this. The quiet fox, or whatever it's called. It's close your mouth, open your ears. Oh my god, no. They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right. So, could I... there you are. You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost. We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you Japanese, by any chance? Oh, his eyes cleared up. This is beyond my wildest dreams. And now his eyes are back. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So, hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damn dark hellhole was a most monumental, moving moment. Okay. I don't want to represent him. Who could have guessed that this new client, Lord Strongarm, assigned to us, would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? His manga eyes, though. Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show to dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon. A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. Don't clear it up. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example? Yes, I can, I will! Shan't stay solid and silent. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. Just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryonosuke Naruhodo. And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student sent here by our government, notoriously named Natsume, Sosuke Natsume. So Sosuke Natsume-san? What an unusual name. Call me Sosuke, please. I am a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. Why were you sent to England then? Yes, there are poets in England, but a haiku is highly different from the Western style of a poet or poetry. It's something of a nom de plume. A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No. Don't be so prosaic. Prosaic? It's much more refined than that. And haiku? That really reminds me of a home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this. It's beyond the pale. Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh, but just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No. What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I see. Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on whitewashy. You must be a man of great standing. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Sosuke-san? I didn't do it. Yes, alright. Sosuke? Probably. I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder. Murder? Oh, no. It's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Then you should have seen the murderer? Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? I'll have to Google that later. Hold on, we can do that. Oh no, I don't have my browser open right now. If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient. So Sosuke-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. It was an accursed evening just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too? As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another accursed ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from her, so I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English and a young woman at that? I'm different, shy, timid, and so I can't talk to people. You are literally talking to people right now. I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So, the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? Huh? What conundrum? Conundrum. Alright, let's go. What do you mean, Suzuta-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. I did. But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. Somebody else would have to have seen him to accuse him of murder, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to find him so quickly. What did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh, yes, she's right. It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck. Cursed great detective? Could it be? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Rash, big-headed busybody, be gone. May you be cursed until the end of your days, Herr Sholmes. I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? Wow, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some man suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver. And yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting dietary discrimination devils. You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. And here he was in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Herr Log Sholmes. It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. His overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me, this weak, stooped kitten of a man? I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were, that's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me. In impossible English. Fiendish foreign flummery. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point. Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. Sorry. Could you actually use that though? Normally, if someone, wow, what's it called in English? I can't remember, but if they say yes, they did it early on, you can use that against them, as far as I know. But in this case, since he is not a native English speaker, could you actually use it against him? Wouldn't it be unreasonable to do so? If you can actually say without a sliver of a doubt that he might have had problems of understanding, so unless they rephrase the question so his answers would fit, you would definitely see that there's a discrepancy in answering yes I do or I'm fine with the questions they ask, like do you know who murdered her? Yes I do would make sense, but if he answered I'm fine, it wouldn't make sense like that. So if they have a transcript of that questioning, you could say, hey, look, he didn't understand, so you can see here he's answering I'm fine, which doesn't make sense answering that question like that. So does it make sense? My brain is mush right now. I'm in half asleep mode, so the next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine. He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright, yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself on a study tour. Student? I have defended a case in the Old Bailey only, the one though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm sort of a locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband, that's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire. It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. Keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, what do you mean? The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me. Goodness, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. It must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them. Someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, I said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. It's awful. They are wrong. I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through. Soseki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. Huh? I'll do what I can for the time being. What do you mean? We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I'm sure. Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. Do we have anything? Nope. Okay. I think that's as far as my brain will take me. Otherwise we'll be stuck at some point looking for a clue that's not there. So yeah, let's get this case into court tomorrow. Yeah. Probably for the best. Options G. Let's see. Now that I know the stream is ending, my brain is shutting down. Alright, thanks for stopping by, Erica. It was fun. Going back to this game after having a short break from it, you can enjoy the ridiculousness of it more if you have something. Well, okay. Resident Evil is also ridiculous, especially the healing powers of random herbs you find lying around is amazing. Getting your throat half bitten out, you put some herbs on it and you can still walk and you can't see anything of said attack. It's interesting to say the least. But okay, we are dealing with zombies and their hunters, I guess. Wind. Alright. I think it would be best to also take a break between episode 4 and 5. Any ideas what to play? Leave them in the comments or on Twitter. I don't know. I have some ideas, but they're all not too short enough to squeeze in a 1 or 2 day stream. Maximum of 3 days for that game to go in between, I would say. Would be for the best. Alright. Plans for the future. Right. Thanks for stopping by again. Take care. Bye bye.